Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And this lovely woman is someone I've known for a while, and we were stunned that she'd never been on the podcast. What the heck? So it is my delight to finally welcome Katie Nelson to our program today. Welcome, Katie. How are you?
You know, Deb, I'm better now that I'm here. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I know. I love it. I love it. Well, let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we will jump into this. So with over $150 million in products and services sold, Katie Nelson is a serial entrepreneur and sales strategist. She is the founder of Sales UpRising, which specializes in helping business owners simplify sales and grow revenue with confidence. Drawing on her experience building businesses and leading thousands of sales conversations, she helps entrepreneurs develop authentic sales systems that create predictable revenue and stronger client relationships. She is also the author of the soon-to-be-released book, Speak Your Way to Sales. So again, Katie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Deb. It's always so interesting to hear your history, right? And you're like, oh, right, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. I know. We hear our bios like, ooh, that's an interesting person. But you're a very interesting person. So, but tell us how it is that you got to where you are today, because I think people really are interested in that.
Well, I know I'm always interested in hearing how people got to where they are, right? So I can understand that 100%. I think how I got to where I am was through a lot of grit, hard work, determination, and absolute love and passion for humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not to be cliche or whatever, or to make it too simplistic, but I work really hard and I love every minute of it. There have been easy times, like it gets easy too, but I put myself out there a lot. I've connected to a lot of people. I'm interested in connecting those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that ultimately the support of my network and charisma and personality is why I got here today.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Well, you work with people regarding sales. And of course, anytime we say sales, everybody makes the face, right? I don't want to be in sales. I don't want to do sales. Ew. We're all in sales, folks.
Oh,
Got bad news for you. We're all in sales, but it's a matter of, do you do it well or not? And so tell us, why did you decide to focus on sales, to make people make those funny faces?
maybe if I'd have thought about it, I wouldn't have done it. No, for me, it's an it's an integrity thing. It's an integrity for me in my being thing. I have made my name and my way by being a business development executive, an account manager, a client development executive, all of the things that companies call salespeople. Did you ever notice that, Deb? Nobody just goes by salesperson unless
Right. Oh, yeah. Unless you're a car salesman. Yep.
right, unless you sell cars.
Mhm.
Companies don't want you to be known, and they say, oh no, our clients are looking for these types of people. No, your clients are looking for salespeople that are going to give them the answers. So for me, it was I'm a business coach, but I didn't want to have a business coaching title. Sales is the heartbeat of any business. When you want to grow, when you need investment, when you're looking to get started, it all has to do with the skill of selling. And if you want to own your own business, you need to get clear with it sooner rather than later. And if you can stand it, I'm here to help you.
Right. And I love what you say on your website. You say, to be clear, without sales, there's no money, and without money, there's no business. It's as simple as that. And I laugh that everybody's in sales. We all are, even if we're the owner of the company or somebody working in the mail room. right? The janitor, somebody that you're thinking, oh, they're not in sales. What would, if somebody said, hey, where do you work and what do you do? What would those people say? And I mean, that's the key is you want them all the way up to your CEO giving the right message.
Absolutely. And here's where you and I are going to apparently diverge. I would say that that's partly marketing. Like, you're never going to expect your mailroom guy to actually bring you a deal. They might, but it would more than likely be through the fact that they had a know, like, and trust relationship, and they knew the company's marketing inside and out. They don't know the insides and outsides of a deal. They're not going to know the profit margin on a thing. They're not going to know how to get the contract to somebody. So they would have done the upfront, in-person relationship creation that can fall under marketing so easily. Sales is a job, and we can say that everybody's in it, but while that is true, right? So moms have to sell their kids eating spinach every night, as an example.
Kale.
Right. Curly kale, but baby kale, better. But if we're keeping it specific to business and we're keeping the sales function, you want your sales function. You want it to be specific. You don't want it to be marketing. You don't want any questions as to what that looks like, so that it can be the best thing it can be, and deposit cash into your business so that you have a business and your business can continue.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. Marketing gets the business in the door. Sales finalizes it.
Yep.
And that's which is why somebody needs to work with both. I back when I was in corporate America and we had sales off one hall and marketing off one hall, and never did they talk to each other.
So we can get into this because we're not going to call out how long it's been since you've been in corporate. But it is much more likely today that what you have is a vice president of sales and marketing.
Yes.
So now you have the opposite problem. Right. Now you have where they're all squished together. They're pointing fingers at each other left and right. And what ultimately, not that I am a fan of more middle management, but because marketing is a leveraged service against multiple aspects of the business, sales has one function.
Right.
Super simple.
Finalize the deal.
Right? We are revenue generators. There is only one function of your business that puts money in the bank. Every other function of your business extracts money from the bank.
Right. So, including marketing.
Yes. Yes. When people say, am I going to get my ROI on my marketing? It's going to need to be in something other than dollars, right? If they're worth their weight in marketing. So because sales is the only driving function of revenue deposits.
Right.
And
it's hard to do both, like you've been saying. Now, if you're small, you do have to do both.
I was going to say, I think that's with context, right? So we're talking about contextually, I think the audience is big enough that it kind of spans what I consider the 4 phases of business. You've got startup through your first $250,000 in services sold. Please note, you guys, I said services, not product. These are 2 different, very different life cycles. They're 2 different types of businesses. And so your 0 to 250K in services is your startup phase. It doesn't have anything to do with how much time it takes you. It could take you 5 years. It could take you 10 years. It could take you 6 months. Wonderful. The point of the number is to really just be able to point back to the data that allows you proof of concept for your business. I know with 80% of surety where my next client's coming from. I know how much I can charge them so that I can strengthen my marketing to go outreach for those people. 250 to your first, second, or third 7 figures, I would probably call your expand phase. Or once you hit 250, there's this tiny, tiny little place where you just get to feel good as a business owner. And you're like, yay.
Oh, I'm either going to grow or shrink.
Right. Look, and I didn't even mention it because it literally is like a blip on the screen. No sooner does that happen, no sooner do you realize, oh my gosh, I can make this boat float. It's great. I've got the cash. Like Katie said, I'm feeding my baby bird of a business cash. So it's happy, it's full. My bills are getting paid. There's less stresses. And that happens for a blip because your next thought is, well, so how do I do more of this?
Right.
When we're talking about our biggest vision, and say you want to be a micro business, right? In the classifications of it, you're never looking to run an office more than 10 people.
Right.
Maybe you're just looking for a couple of hires and then some 1099s, like whatever your situation is, but you still need more because now you need to employ them and all of these things. So now you're looking to expand. And expand is a much different space. You learn new lessons contextually in selling and every other piece of your business. And then, of course, there's Thrive, which we all want to get to, which is where everything is running beautifully. We're content. Bite our tongue, maybe say complacent. We're just happy.
Yeah. Yikes. Until something happens in the world and
Right. Or you're just running it. You know what works. You work it. You're collecting your checks. You're doing all the other things. You're giving back in philanthropic ways throughout your community because your business allows you to do that because you're thriving. So,
right. And wherever you are in your business, you have to understand all of this. And that's the thing is there's shifts that have to take place because that money still has to keep coming in the door. And then you've got that other little division down there that might be part of all of this or is part of this, and that's R&D, right? And they're all, but it is a team. Your salespeople are going to say, hey, we have heard this. It might be a marketing messaging thing that needs to be changed. It might be, we need a new service, a new product, a new service. But they're not in silos, folks. You have to be talking with all of those people. But, your marketing, and this is why I like marketing, they're the people who get to go to the trade shows and they get to network and they get to go do all of those fun things. And then the salespeople lace up their boots, pull up their big girl panties, whatever it is that we're going to call it, and they go in and they do the hard work.
Well, now, ma'am, I will tell you, depending on who you are selling to, I made a mint on golf courses, right? So
yes,
development has the ability to be done anywhere. We created, quote unquote mommy happy hours. Like you get to be creative in sales as well, I guess is my point. You meet your client where they're at. Once you know who they are, where they hang out or where they'd love to hang out, then that's where you meet them or that's where you create your continual relationships with them so that you can, one, get the deal. Two, all of the beginning things, create your know, like, and trust, deepen your know, like, and trust, get the deal, upsell the deal, do continual business with them because it's so much less expensive to keep a client than it is to get new ones.
Oh yeah. And unless you don't like them, then they can go away. But
or you can hand them off to somebody else.
This is true, right? In the company or a friend, business associate, whatever.
Right.
And I mean, we talk a lot on this program about niche marketing.
Yeah.
And I hate it when you ask somebody, so who is your perfect audience? And they look at you and they smile sweetly. And they can do this whether they started their business yesterday or been in business 20 years. And they look at you and they say, everyone.
Or they say, well, really, I can help everybody.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But if there is a but to that sentence, then probably you can't. So why don't you like it then?
Well, because we can't service everyone, and there's, it's really, I have tried to think of a product that everyone would want.
Nope.
It's just not going to happen. And I've mentioned this before. On the podcast. I was at a networking thing one time, right? And we did the 30-second. What are you doing? Who's your audience? And this lovely woman sold skincare products, right? Everyone has skin. I mean, and so that was what she said was, well, my audience is everyone because everyone has skin. Not a single one of us could think of somebody to refer to her.
And so, why do you? I know how I describe that phenomenon.
Oh yeah,
How do you describe that phenomenon?
Well, it's because it's so vague. We can't. We need a problem to latch onto, and or the pain, right? How are you going to solve that pain?
Yes.
And so I worked with this woman, and and it really did not take long because she understood.
No.
She got it. And I said, "Okay, no. You need a box." And I know we're all told, "Think outside the box." No, you need a box to put. And so the next time she says, "I have skincare products for teenage boys who have acne."
Done.
Every
And you can
one of
think
us.
everybody who, right, the teenager who
Yes.
has acne. And here's the beautiful thing about it. Because she even said that, now you're starting to think about, well, I know. Do you also do teenage girls with acne?
Yeah.
And
Or a
she's thinking to herself,
20-something
yes, I
woman,
do.
right? We got a pregnancy
Sure.
acne.
Or women, or perimenopause acne. Like it's all a thing.
Yeah.
So
And so you can technically, and I'm putting this in my little air quotes, serve everyone, but you still have to have that starting point of who is your best audience. And of course, she knew that, because she had a lot of friends who had teenage sons who had acne, who were absolutely mortified that they couldn't go to prom because, or whatever it was. So she had a great built-in audience, target market, whatever the heck we want to call it, just by refining it right there. Yes, she sold to whoever wanted to pay the money, right? But she marketed to not
what I would
she
say
marketed
is
to the parents of, and
So
usually it's
she's-
the mom, right?
she
Of the teenage
sold
boy.
to anyone who could say that this, like, who bought her solution to a thing.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Not she sold to anybody who would cut her a check. She sold to the people who said, yes, you know what? It turns out I have some skin issues, or maybe I just, I want to look deeper into your catalog. So she did what she needed to do. There's a couple of, like, if I'm me from 15 years ago, before I started any of my businesses, right? I would have been like, well, so why though, Deb? Why? I would have just kept asking you why.
Yeah.
Why? Why can't I say everybody? There's a part of our brain that says you want to cast the widest net.
Right.
So you
That
can
because that's going to make you the most money.
and there are some, this is how I would put it in today's language to explain this phenomenon. If you told Chat GPT that you could sell for anybody, it wouldn't know what to do with you either.
Right. It would, because it's too broad.
Right. So if you think of a human brain as a computer, they're very similar functions in certain parts of our brain. We need something to be recognizable to us. I need something that I can grab onto. Now, more practically, for smaller businesses, the amount of money that it takes to market to any one specific target is not inexpensive.
Right.
So if you're a business owner who has a money tree in the backyard, or an angel investor, or came to business ownership through your bootstrap $1 million funds that you have in your bank,
You bought that lottery ticket.
right? Fantastic. Then you can afford, literally afford, to play around with more than one target market. I would still tell you, as a business, like, go after the one that you think is the most monetizable the fastest.
Right.
And the other thing that I think that business owners, especially when they're newer business owners, and although I would tell you, I run a strategic annual business planning event. So every November, I invite business owners to get together just to do their annual plan. And I do it in different locations to get them out of their spaces and think differently. So there are places where we can afford to think about this. But if you could make all the money you want to make from one place, do you care about all the other places? Why do you think it's got to be, I'm the answer to everybody?
Right.
Right?
And
I don't want to be the answer to everybody. I really don't. I don't.
Yeah.
There are certain. So when you're thinking about honing, when you're thinking about niching, when you're like, okay, great, Deb, Katie, I love that you guys are saying this. I can get on the bus. Like, I can see how I would be the brightest lighthouse in the ocean for my people to find me if I could just define who that is. So I'm on. But how do I do that?
You ask your salespeople.
Well, now here's the thing, Deb. If I'm new in business,
Oh, this is true. You are the salesperson.
right? So contextually, right? That is the thing that is contextual upon your business. If you are newer in business, go with your gut. Write down all. It's so much easier to talk about the things we don't want in a client. So write all those things down and do your logic problem of, okay, so if it's not all this, what does that leave me with?
Right.
The other way you can do it is to go after who you love working with. Who are the people that you're like, I totally identify? And this may look like they look just like me. They feel just like me. They have the exact same problems as me because my business is built on solving problems for me. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a winning scenario. You're test case 0. You already know there's at least one of you in the
Yeah.
world.
Would you buy from you?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like attracts like, your vibe attracts your tribe. If you know nothing about where to start, go with just who you are at the core and what you want your business to be. And know that it will change every time you plunk data into the database. With every client you get, potentially with every interaction if you're paying attention.
Right. And that's the key, is to pay attention. What are people saying to you? Or what are you just hearing, right? What are people posting about on social? What are they talking about on TV? All of these various things, because that's going to give you an idea of maybe the directions to go in. Now, that can all be manipulated, right?
I was going to say, so the only challenge I would say about that, I think that those are absolute data points, and I think that they're data points with asterisks next to them. I think if you really want to know what the people need, go be amongst the people.
Right. Right.
Right? Go hang out in networking rooms, right? Go be on those amazing Zoom rooms that have 500 people. See what they're talking about. Be in smaller rooms where there's deeper conversations about challenges.
Hey.
In any space, you'll find those rooms. Go be in those rooms. Put yourself in those rooms. I'll never forget the first time I got a client for Sales UpRising. So prior to Sales UpRising, which was started in 2016, I had 10 years. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. It's a milestone that not a lot of businesses get to.
Right.
If they choose to stay founder-owned businesses. So I co-owned 2 separate professional services and staffing businesses that did business. 90% of our business came from the government. We worked directly with government contractors and the government. So I grew the last of those businesses to be a $6 million run rate in under 3 years.
Wow.
Yes, it's where my gray hair comes from. Thank you for knowing what that means. People in big business don't necessarily know what people in small business don't necessarily know what that means. But it's like basically what Deb heard me say is I worked a lot and was really good at it. So there's 2 things that she got to surmise from that. But so when I left that and decided to follow my heart's passion, which was to support small businesses in their understanding of sales, their skill set of sales, their understanding of sales as a business function and how it is the most foundational piece that you need, because everything else can be built after you can make a dollar. I found myself in a place where I was like, I have no idea how to grow this business. I know exactly how to grow that business. I know how to grow professional services businesses. I know the margins. I know the times. I know all of the things about staffing and the pieces and the clients, everything about it. Loved it. Know nothing about this business. So through my network, I had gotten close to a woman who ended up becoming my very first business strategist because I was happy to pay someone to be like, here's everything I know. Yeah. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing some things. What are those things? So she was my very first quote unquote business coach. And she had a ticket to a conference. So she said, okay, you're going to go to this conference here, have this ticket. And I was like, I don't want to go to a conference. In my previous business, this is also 15 years ago before the conference boom, I might add.
Right.
But why am I going to a conference? She's like, you're going to go there to learn. And I said, I'm going to go learn how to do my business from a bunch of people that I haven't qualified to know are really. And she goes, no, you're actually going to go sign up for every single breakout room that has a talk topic that you think you would be able to host. You're going to go there and you're going to just go be you. You're going to go soak it all up. And I said, okay, that's weird, but I'll do this. And she goes, so I'm driving in, it's an hour and a half away to this conference. So I'm driving in, I give her a call, I let her know I'm doing my homework and I'm doing the things. And she says, really quick, have you put together your first offer yet? I said, no, I don't know what I'm doing. What do you mean? What are you talking about? She goes, well, you might just want to think about it.
Yeah. If somebody were to say, I want to hire you, what would you say?
Why would they do that? I'm going to a conference, Deb. See, so I'm going to a conference. These
Hey,
things,
nobody's going to ask that.
right? Why would they ask that? I'm going to sit there. And she goes, well, Kate, I said, so what would that look like? If you want me to have that, I can create it if you can tell me what that looks like. And so she's like, just put together an assessment. How much would you charge for an assessment? And think about how much time it would take, blah, blah, blah. She goes, do you have the ability to take payment? And I said, oh, yeah. I'm in sales. So, of course, I know how to take.
Yeah, you got that down.
Don't know what I'm selling, but I could take money if I. So I go. And the funny thing is, and of course, looking back on it, I was totally set up. I should have known better. She knew I wouldn't be able to be quiet in certain circumstances. And there's oftentimes some non-contextual advice given at conferences.
Right.
So I'm not going to say it's bad advice. It's just advice for a very specific person that may or may not be in that room. So I went to all of those things. I left with 3 clients. I did. I with 3 clients. And I did it while making sure that the speaker was also praised, loved for their what they were putting forward in the world. And I think ultimately that's why I got those clients is because I made the speaker say, so who really is this for? Like, what does the business look like that you would give this advice to? And there were people in the room that said that's who they were. And there are people in the room who were like, that is not me.
Right.
So they were like, maybe this other girl knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I left with my first 3 clients. And it all has to do with knowing in the beginning what you're great at, because I can do that all day, every day. The first thing I sold were $250 assessments. They were 50-minute conversations. You would give me your biggest challenge with sales, and we would talk about it. We would go deep, people. We would go
lots of why. Tell me mores.
Yep. Give me examples. Where does this come from? And then I would give you a bulleted assessment with 3 action items to take to eradicate that challenge in sales.
I love it. Well, so then what? Did they have to go somewhere else and find someone to work with, or did you go and I can help you?
Well, at that time, I didn't have another thing.
Okay.
Right. So I was like, let me just sell this until I get my feet under me. I'm giving because I'm
And
giving
that's
them
okay, folks. You can do that. You don't have to solve everything in the world.
Well, no. One, is this what I want to talk about all day? Like, I'm great at this, but is this the vibe? Is this what I'm looking at? Because here's the deal. You and I both know you can give assessments. Like, you can hand out bottles of water at a marathon, but whether or not people are going to drink it is a whole other thing. So, and what I cared about at the end of the day was truly moving businesses forward through their sales process so that they could see how they could do this. It's how we came up with the tagline for Sales UpRising, which is where revenue moves you. It, and that could mean so many things depending on who's hearing it. So I ultimately created a mastermind specifically for startup-based businesses that grow into a mastermind specifically for businesses who had hit that target and were now, spreading their wings. They
Right.
a bigger vision, because your vision, just like your niche, over the course of growing your business, your vision will change. Like, it is an amalgam of all of the things all of the time until it's all set.
Right.
And that's kind of an agreement you have with your business. Hey, business, I love you very much, and I know we're going to grow and change together. So you may not have this logo in 5 years. You may not have this tagline. You may not even sell this stuff, but we're going to do it together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a lot of times we talk about a business is someone's baby. Well, they hopefully don't stay a baby forever. And that is the issue, right? If they don't have it grow, then that's where their problem is. They might have the terrible teens. They might have all sorts of stuff in there. But just as human beings grow and change, the business grows and changes.
Absolutely. The only thing I would say about that is that your business, very much like your pets, who also grow older, will never be able to feed itself.
Right.
The functions and operations that you create for your business to feed your business will always have to be there for your business to actually exist. So that's the only challenge I have with that particular challenge.
Yeah, they never fly that nest.
Right, they never fly the nest. They're always gonna want to eat at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m.
And the problem is they want to eat more. and all those things. I mean, that is, and I think that's probably the best analogy is as it grows, it needs more. And here's the bad part: it also needs more attention. And I'm not a parent. I do have dogs and cats, and they're like, yeah, we need more attention, right? But yeah, it's never set it and forget it. That said, though, it's good if you have set up your business so you can actually take a vacation. You've got great people working for you, things like that. I mean, it's never that you're the only person who can do everything.
Absolutely not. So I'm a member, I'm the current president of an organization called NABO.
Right.
Which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. It's an organization that's very near to dear to my heart. And I've been blessed with the opportunity to be the president of the Greater DC chapter.
This is a big chapter.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So, but we're not the largest in the nation. We do have the distinction of being the very first.
I didn't know that. I used to be a NABO member when I lived in Colorado.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great chapter. Mm-hmm. So NABO, July 2nd, I think, of 1975 is when it got inked. And that was here in DC. And of course, amazing institutions have been created out of the advocacy, education, and community efforts that NABO has been a part of and has advocated for 50 years. But I was just on a lunch and learn by a lovely businesswoman named Tamika Mason. She was doing it on so what do you do if you want to go from solo to your next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things she said that I just absolutely loved, I agree with her completely. I loved her presentation. And for anybody on the call who's like, okay, great, but I know that I can do it best, right? I know it's got to be me. It's got to be up on it. Or who like me, and I'm really random. I was in the staffing business for 10 years. So my challenges with hiring have PTSD from those times. Not necessarily because I think I have to be the best at a thing. As a matter of fact, I think that I shouldn't be the best at a thing, especially if I'm going to hire you. You should be the best at a thing.
I'm hiring you for your wisdom and your, yep.
I'm absolutely happy to lead you or whatever the case is. But she was talking about how we're not looking to add to our team. We're not looking to lead a team. We're looking to grow our capacity. And just that simple twist of words and different perspective makes that so much clearer. If you're getting caught in a fear loop or a mindset loop about, okay, Katie, Deb, you guys can talk about going from small to deciding to want to be bigger. And all I can think about are all of the how am I going to do that?
Right.
Challenges.
Because I like to do this. I don't know how to do all of that.
Fantastic. Wonderful. You know what? If you have an amazing sales engine, you don't have to do anything. Do you know that I had a website for my company for 3 years? I'm pretty sure it was a landing page, a static landing page with an ombre background and the first iteration of the words Sales UpRising. And then it said Sales UpRising, business coaching by Katie Nelson. If you want to get one, call me at this number.
Right.
That's what it was.
But that's all you needed.
That's well, and I certainly didn't need to spend time and attention on it because if I had the ability to walk into a room of my target client of business owners who had yet to make $250,000 and I knew what I could deliver for them and they could tell me their pain was, I don't know, I'm scared to death of selling. Or better yet, I'm spending, I can't, Katie, I can't afford you. I'm really in the middle of an amazing branding effort. Fantastic. You've been in business for 6 months. Who do you think your business is?
Right.
What are you, you're spending 15 grand on that? Okay. I hope that you get some sales help so that you can make another 15 grand because it's going to change.
Right. To pay back all of that. Right.
Well, right? If you can sell, sales cures all ills up to a point. You can go a lot farther faster. So if you're going to invest in something, I hope it is your sales skill set.
Right.
I want
back to you need money in order to do anything else.
Sales UpRising, the name of the company, came about because how I pictured it is think about your chamber of commerce, think about your local main street, think about all of the business owners that you know that hate selling. And
They make the face.
right. They make the face but they have to do it and they want to do it. They don't want to have an employer. They want to make this difference in their community. They see this vision. They have this expertise and they're so good at this thing. I really close my eyes and what would I envision for them? I would envision them like very, very much like old Westerns going and getting pitchforks and torches and what they're going after. And they're marching down streets. And what they're going after is their own mindset about selling. So I want them to have a sales uprising. I want them to take those pitchforks. I give them pitchforks and I give them torches to burn all of that down so that they can go and just make the money and grow from there.
Right. And what they're burning down and getting rid of are all of those preconceived notions that selling is icky. Selling is used car salesman. Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's snake oil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All of those things. And of course, you know, some of the best people, some of the best salespeople I know sold cars, right? Because
and here's the thing, right? So the people who say that they love sales, I get different conversations because I say I'm a salesperson and all of this stuff. So I always love the people that are like, oh yeah, I'm a salesman, tried and true, and this is what I do. So here's the thing about sales, you guys. There's a buyer for every seller. And this is what I mean by that. Those people that you consider to be pushy, they get paid. So when you're prioritizing what is important for your business, is it more important that you sit in uncomfortability of not being able to make a sale? Or is it more important that your business starts or gets to keep going or pay your bills? Pushy salespeople have buyers, but that doesn't mean you have to be like them. I'm not saying that sales isn't pushy. Depending on who's doing it, it can be very pushy. And if you say you're a salesperson, people will listen to you differently. It's why there are different titles for it, right? If I say I'm the CEO and I'm talking about my expertise, but I never talk about selling, people come up to me all the time. If I talk about my absolute passion for sales and how everybody needs this, only a select few will be like, I get it, Katie.
Right.
I want to be in your world. I want to own that I am the #1 salesperson for my business, and I want to always be that because I don't want to outsource that. If your services are based on your product, like your knowledge, your IP, you may not want to deliver all of the time, but you absolutely want to always be the #1 salesperson, even if that means that you're passing off those deals to your first sales guy.
Right. You know, and there are bugaboos, especially when you're starting out with a company or, you know, even further along. And one of the biggest bugaboos is how much am I going to make month to month? And my sales go up and my sales go down. And so how can you strategically plan? And, you know, obviously there, you know, unless now, you know, there are many cases where you have contracts, you know, 10 people are going to pay you this, but it still could go up and down, you know, for whatever. And so how do we want to use sales to make sure that we have more consistent revenue?
We want to be consistent in our habits. So we want to have our foundational habits be the thing that is consistent. We cannot guarantee activity breeds activity. I cannot guarantee a single sale ever. That is impossible.
Right.
That doesn't exist because of one awesome function. Humans. I can't guarantee a sale from somebody who said they're going to buy. I can't there's no guarantees in sales. It's like there's no crime.
They might sign the contract with you and still not, you know, go yeah.
Those
you know,
things happen. Still not pay you. And then they may run away out of sheer embarrassment. So your job is to make them happy to come
or
back.
they go bankrupt or whatever.
Right? Something happens in the middle of the contract. So even though it's an annual contract, you just got paid for 6 months. There's everything under the sun that can happen.
Right.
And when you're a solopreneur, you don't have time to go running after everybody for the rest of your 6 months. Like the best money you can spend is not on a lawyer trying to go collect that. So what you do is you create consistent habits up front. Show up when you say you're going to show up. If your business, and this does go into your branding a little bit, but if you're a fitness trainer, you probably don't need to show up in a 3-piece suit. Your clients aren't necessarily looking for that.
Spandex, but
Maybe, hey, if your sell is, if you want a body like mine and spandex is what shows that off the best, fantastic. Go do that. Get your Lululemon on. I don't know. Obviously that is not me. I spend a lot of time in front of computers and talking to people.
there's a reason I like Southern catering it.
I love food of all kinds. But
Mhm.
so, show up consistently, do the work consistently.
Mhm.
I can't guarantee you a sale, but I can guarantee that you know what? It's like this, Deb. If you've ever chosen to have a lifestyle change, meaning you've started to eat healthier, you've finally listened to what all of the people say, and you've decided to go do walks, and you're doing it just so you can be healthy, but you'll probably end up losing a little weight. Your body will end up looking different because you're putting good things in it and you're giving it activity. If you stare at your body every day looking to see if there's changes, you'll never see those changes.
Right.
It is the same thing with your sales and your sales data. If you start out on day one and you say, oh, well, this is how day one went, so now every other day is going to be that way. Don't look at your face in the mirror too close.
Right.
Just
Because all you're going to see are the blemishes.
or it's all going to look the same to you. So look at back to the skincare lady. You're only going to see your acne. So, what I would say is put together a week of I'm going to make this many calls and put the same amount of data in every day. The winning factor to sales is cumulative data.
Right.
Now, there will always be outliers. Contextually, when you're early in your business, everything's going to look like an outlier, right? So you're in the middle of your friends and family, which is where we all start, right? Do you know somebody who needs a meet because they already know, like, and trust you? They're like, oh my gosh, I might. Do you do this? And of course, you're going to say, well, I think I am. And so you thought these deals in the first year of your business, it may look like every client is different than the next. These are the people who, when I say, who's your target market, you'd say, well, so this is what my clientele looks like. I've got one of these and one of these and one of these and one of these.
Right. And, and so then you figure out, okay, is there similarities?
Right.
Which there might be. Or if not, okay, if you could pick and choose, which ones do you want to continue working with? Because I think especially when we start out, we will take pretty much anybody who comes through the door.
Right. And I will tell you, it is such an interesting thing about business owners. Sometimes they won't. There will be money. I had a conversation. Oh, I was on another podcast and he had just had a conversation with Simon Sinek, and Simon Sinek is of course the big why person.
Why? Yes.
And I love that contextually for a business who has already gotten out of startup. And it's a wonderful idea to have. Your why doesn't necessarily change. And I don't think that you have to have a why to go make money. So,
and okay, let's be honest, your why can be because I want to make money.
And it will grow, right? It's business. People can do it for whatever reasons they want, but there are faster paths to cash than not. If we all come from a heart-driven place, like your heart is at home, make sure that you should care about nothing other than making sure that your bills are paid. If your bills are paid, great. Then you can open up your ideas of what you want to make this money for. And all of it is appropriate.
Right.
The inappropriate parts are when we hear businesses that can't afford things and we tell them it needs to be a different way. When you can't afford something and you're new in business, just go make some money. You don't need to care about anything else. The best thing for your business is to just go feed it cash.
Right. And it is okay, to sometimes say no. We were talking about this before.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you do not have to take every client that walks through the door. I back when we lived in Colorado, I was approached by somebody who wanted us to do marketing for them. And I went through the hoops and bells and whistles and all that and created this proposal. But the funny thing was when I met with this guy in person, I got an feeling. Not a creepy just an
It's like, I think something's off.
Yeah, we're not going to vibe. But I thought, I need the money. I really need the money. And so we get a little bit further down this road, And luckily, he showed his true colors because he sends me another business's proposal and said, I like you, but I like their proposal, so I want you to implement it.
Oh, but here's the thing. So from an integral perspective.
Oh, I wasn't touching that with a 10-foot
Right.
pole.
And sir, give me I had to know if you've shown my proposal around town. Thank you very much. That says a lot about who you are. Oh yeah, you could have actually just told me that there were some tweaks you wanted me to make in my proposal.
Right. And I would have made them. But yeah, to give me, I mean, he flat out gave me their proposal. And he had gone through and redacted their name except for one place. And of course, I knew them because the marketing world, even in Denver, is a small world. And I told him no. I said, that's very unethical. And he really could have just said, well, what about if you could do X? Right. And yeah. And I told him, I said, no, I won't work with you. But I, of course, contacted that other firm.
I was going to say, and if you were an integral person, you would have gone straight
yeah.
to people even though they're your competition, and been like, okay, so I just need to let you know this. You may not gotta do like, you know, and you know, we have that conversation a lot, and this is a little off topic. So, but relates to business people. This is why I'm bringing it up. I just had a conversation with another businesswoman who'd kind of gotten. Are we allowed to say screwed?
Like, yeah, we can say screwed.
Okay, so the deal. A person that she contracted for her work did not deliver on any of the levels. And it's such a heartbreaking thing. It happens. And I said, okay, great. So you're obviously still wrapped around the axle around this, right? Like you're upset that this work didn't get done, whatever the case is. What are our next steps? And because you seem like this happened months ago, but you're still talking to me about it.
You're still wounded.
Right. I said, so did you let anybody know? And she's like, oh, I would never do that. Why? The reason why there are still bad businesses out there is because everybody's like, well, I don't want to tell anybody.
Right.
You know, you have the ability to communicate appropriately and say, I understand that one man's trash is another man's treasure. And here was my experience. I am willing to stand in integrity in the experience that I had. Right. You're allowed to say that. You don't have to cut somebody down. You don't have to eviscerate them and make it, you know, burn bridges and all that. But you're allowed to talk about your experience so that I can say, because here's the thing. You don't want to tell me, what if I was going to do business with him? How was I ever going to know? Right. So what if I hired him or her? And then I went and we had a conversation. Right. But you could have saved me from that.
Right. Yeah. And there are times where it's just not a good fit for whatever reason.
There are a lot of times.
Right. And when that happens, I love to then be able to give them somebody else to talk to.
For business, absolutely.
Yeah,
this is
and then everybody's happy. I didn't have to take on something I didn't want. My friend, my business associate, whoever it is, they got maybe a new client, and the client was happier. You know, and so it is okay to say no. Sometimes you got those bills you got to pay, and and we get that.
In business, there's no time to say no. You don't know what you like. You have ideas, so just do it all. You know, my favorite part is there's like a running theme, right? So I work with startup businesses. They've made $150K and they want to know how to make more. They've run out of their friends and family referrals. And now they have to go.
Now what?
Now they have
you get that. You get the deer in headlights look.
Right. I was making all this money and it's not happening now. What's going on? And so eventually, at some point in time over the course of the year that we work together, they'll call me and they'll say, I'm so proud of myself. I just fired my first client.
Oh my gosh. I know that's one of the hardest things to do.
It's one of the hardest things to do. And you've gotten to a certain place in business when you feel comfortable doing that, right? So now you are generating revenue enough to pay your bills so that you're not super stressed out. You probably have a pipeline of your next potential deal. You're already working on it. So you can say, I can say what I like and I don't like. This may be the first, and it's really the first time where we have the conversation of, okay, great. So how would you edit your target market?
Right. Yeah, that's what it comes back to.
Now that you know that. So this is what I mean by the ever-changing, the data feeds itself. Sit and stay and make it pay and then make your decisions after that.
Right. Yeah, you can go, it was absolutely fabulous working with them. They were great people. But I don't want to be in that market.
Thank you so much for working with me so that I can identify how to grow my business further.
And I know someone that I'm going to refer you to.
Yes.
Yeah, and folks, don't be in it just for referral fees. No. It's great if you get them, but don't call the friend up and say, "So, I just referred a business to you. How much are you gonna?" No.
Okay, so I was going to say, you and I are going to have to talk about that because I run a networking franchise and I run a rev share group. So we were going to have to talk about, what do you mean don't do it only for the referral fee?
Right.
Here's the thing. If you're starting in business and you only want to be a referral partner so that you can get referral fees, that's just called a salesperson.
Yes, you're their salesperson.
So, right. So go be a salesperson. That's amazing. That's sexy. Go make some cash. If you have grown to a place in your business or you come into your business as a well-connected individual in your community, there is nothing wrong with making sure that should you choose. Now, did you hear what Deb said? She said, don't do it so that I'm going to send somebody your way, but I want to know about your referral fees. You let everybody know that this is how you work and that this is how you move, or go find a group that supports that type of business.
And that's perfectly fine.
Right.
Yes.
So it's different than what you first said, which was don't do. I do lots of things just for referral fees, but they're all good fits and it's all business that's going to close.
Yeah.
So that's what we call monetizing your network, right?
Yeah. I don't want to get the referral fee just to get the referral fee and find out that it was not a good match.
Right.
And I think that's where
not the
people
thing.
get caught.
Yeah.
I know.
No, that's not it. It's integral. You would never make a referral to someone who you didn't know well enough to know whether or not they were a fit.
Yeah. Right.
Right. So that's a we would call it like I think of it as like a junior level course in college in terms of doing business together, right? So it's a higher level of understanding what makes a good fit. The beautiful part about it is that once you get there, it's because you also have had to do qualification for your own clients. So you understand how to communicate. Hey, Deb, this is what looks like a good client for me. This isn't what looks like a good client for me. So people you hear say X, Y, and Z, they're totally my vibe. This is, this would need to be their budget. And I'm really not interested in meeting them if I'm going to have to keep them in a warm drip campaign for a year. Just have them call me when they're ready. And there's nothing wrong with saying that. But that conversation with one of my referral partners would look different if it was a client, right? Or a prospect.
Yeah. And again, it's okay to say, I want to work with X. And it can be a variety of reasons.
Best to say that.
Yes. And maybe it's what they do. I work with companies that do. So my company.
I work with electricians.
Yes. Yeah. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. In one of my in-person networking groups, we have a woman who provides VAs specifically for realtors.
Great.
That is the sexiest thing I had heard in so long. It is so specific and there's a reason for it. I was like, yes, you get targeting, you get your niche.
Right. And it can be personal also. I just interviewed Molly Rutland. Her
Rutland.
Rutland. Sorry about that.
Okay.
And and one of the things that she is very specific about is somebody's political bent.
Oh, yes.
And that's fine. There are other people who, they want to work with people of a certain religious persuasion. My company is Wise Women Communications. Originally, I was going to work with just women, but men have money too, right? And so, but I've decided, okay, we're just wise women, so that's why we're doing that. But yeah, you can determine what those parameters are, and it's your decision.
Yes, these are the things that evolve you as a business owner. They're the things that evolve you as a brand. They're the things that help evolve your marketing and up level you. It's really, really a fun, introspective journey. The thing that I would want everybody to know, and for the business owners that are listening, they're like, oh my gosh, preach it, preach it, preach it. I hope you don't turn off the podcast because you're like, yeah, it's more about selling. Hopefully you're like, yes, I feel this in my bones. Entrepreneurship requires more of you than just being a CEO. And what I mean by that is if somebody else built the business and you have the job of being a CEO, it's a job.
Right.
But if you are the CEO of your own business as an entrepreneur, you are getting it from all sides. So it requires like core strength for your mindset. It requires core strength for your business skill set. It requires core strength for critical thinking and how you show up, for your emotional intelligence in a room, for you to be considered a thought leader. It is an uplift. And when I say that to my clients, I say, yeah, entrepreneurship requires more of you than even being a mom.
Right.
I get a lot of pushback from that. And what I mean by that is you're allowed to have a bad day with your kid because you're their mom and you have to or their dad, and you have to teach them what it looks like to say, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I was having a bad day. That was inappropriate. And we all have bad days. But to do that in a networking space, to do that in a space where you're representing your business, may or may not be appropriate depending on what you do. And so it really...
And we remember, right? We remember the person who said something inappropriate or whatever, right?
Whatever we think that may be. Now, I'm a little out there, Deb. I'm known for, I literally, when I speak, I have trademarked this saying, all love, no bullshit. Because
you're gonna give it the way it needs to be given.
I'm gonna give it to you in the perspective of how I see it. It would be very, very clear, but it may not feel comfortable.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it most likely won't, because I'm talking about your bank account.
Right.
Talking
And
about
that's a little painful.
Right. We call it the underwear drawer, right? So financial services is, your bookkeeper.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're talking about somebody that might have holes in their underwear.
Right. And it's okay. I don't care. Right. There is zero judgment. You can grow a business regardless of whether you have an underwear drawer, you don't have an underwear drawer, you go commando, you don't go commando, whatever it is. I have no judgment about that. But statistically speaking, businesses are grown a certain way. And so I'm going to give that to you so that you can get to the growth that you need to get to. The reason why I do what I do is we're already against it.
In the limited time that we have, leave us with definite pearls of wisdom.
How many pearls? Like one pearl a second? So, the thing, I know we've talked a lot about sales and all of these things. There are three parts, right? So there's your mindset about the idea of it. And this, I've been selling for a really long time, Deb. So this will happen to even the most seasoned. So you can say, oh, Katie, I've been in business for 10 years. Well, the challenge with sales is that the moment you take your eye off the ball, and you stop using that muscle, like any muscle, it gets a little undefined. Oh, that's such a better word than flabby, which is what I was going to say. It becomes an undefined muscle. So we kind of want to keep it right and tight for our businesses. So you have to practice quality mindset for sales. My number one tip for mindset is positivity. So about 20 years ago, positive psychology became a really big thing, along with the conversations in regards to how our brain actually works and thinks, like neuroscience, in terms of our thoughts, and how the practice of positivity and the practice of being positive is beneficial to us, just in our lives. In our sales lives, how this looks is, especially when you're in a slump. For senior salespeople, if you're in a slump, for newer salespeople who don't haven't gotten the opportunity to have a slump yet, they're just riding the tides. Here's the deal. Every time you set a meeting, it's a win. Every time the meeting actually happens, it's a win. Every time you have a quality conversation that moves the needle forward, every time you remember to ask for a follow-up, every time, break your sales process down into like 1 yard lines if you're a football player.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're just looking to get your next down. You're looking to get your next first eight. And if you can't, then get your second, then get your third, and then get to your first, right? You're looking to not give the ball away. So if you can train yourself to think that this is what it looks like, because this is really the job. It's also that way with being a CEO. But this is the job. If you can train yourself that way, then you have more yeses in your day than you do nos.
Right.
Part of the reason why people are afraid of sales is because of the rejection thing. And
Mhm.
it feels so personal, even though it's not. And all of this. So none of that tends to mess with our minds if we can see, oh my gosh, in terms of activity, what my data is telling me is that I'm doing all of the right
Mhm.
things.
Right. Right. I love it. I love it. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing that people say is, what if they say no? But what if they say yes?
I love the what if they say yes. And what if they say no?
Mm.
Are you brave enough to ask why?
Right.
Are
And
you brave
know
enough
that
to
the
say,
world doesn't end.
well,
Mhm.
of course the world doesn't end, right? So if we're not, here's the deal, people. Be like, look, oh my gosh,
Mhm.
because you're the people who don't want to be pushy salespeople. If you're a pushy salesperson,
Mhm.
they're just going to keep at you.
Right.
Because you don't want to be pushy, then you have to be brave enough to say, okay, so here's the thing.
Right.
We got all the way up to this part of the conversation where I felt comfortable in thinking that you were the right fit for me, which is why I even asked to do business with you, or if you wanted to enter into this kind of relationship at all. And now I'm getting a no, so I'm super confused. Can you tell me where I went wrong?
Mhm.
Where did I get it
Right.
wrong?
And whether you've been doing it for 10 minutes, 10 years, 50 years, it's going to work.
It,
Mhm.
if nothing
Mhm.
else,
Right.
they will give you the answer
Mhm.
to that question, which can help inform your next conversation.
Right. Right.
Or they'll give you a piece of hope to be like, oh no, I'm sorry, maybe I didn't say that right. I
Right.
meant it's
Mhm.
no for right now, but can we get on
Mhm.
I didn't expect to make this. I didn't expect to connect with you so well today. I wasn't
Yeah.
prepared to make this.
Can we have a call next week? Whatever
Right.
it
I love
is.
everything about it. Can we talk about it next week when this type of decision making is on my calendar? You'll get all sorts of information if you take it one step further and are brave enough to ask why. The other thing I would say, especially to the newer in sales business owners,
Mhm.
this too shall pass.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, as long as you do it, your uncomfortability with it will go away.
Right.
You will, it's just, oh, this is going to sound horrible because now I sound like I'm talking to myself, but it's just like working out. You
Mhm.
just got to go do it, and then you got to go do it again. And then you got to go do it again until it's as easy as breathing. Humans have the most beautiful ability to be good enough at whatever we want to be with enough practice. So just keep practicing. And worst comes to worst, you can't find your set, you can't figure it out, and you need a little bit of help, call me. Okay.
Well, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Oh, uh, I am findable. Sales Uprising Anything will take you to Katie Nelson. I have a LinkedIn page that I think goes to the Sales Catalyst, but you can look me up under Katie Nelson or Sales Uprising. You can email me at Katie@Sales Uprising, and of course, Deb will make sure that all of this information is in all the other links everywhere.
Right, right.
But I'm
And
findable.
soon to be the author of Speak Your Way to Sales.
I am. I'm very, very excited about it. The link to be able to buy the book will happen later this month if we are in March.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that.
Perfect.
I will absolutely be getting it to you, and it's my very first published role.
I love it.
But the group of us that put it together, each one of us are business owners. Each one of us have had to sell. Each one of us took the expertise that we have
Mhm.
and gave stories and examples of how to use their chapter specifically to speak your way to sales. So we've got branding experts, we have CRM experts, we have me, we have a lawyer, we have social media. So we have the concept of speaking your way to sales from multiple directions.
I love it. I love it. And that's why we will have you on again.
Okay.
So we'll do that. But yeah, I mean, this really has been a great conversation. We did have a little blip, and gotta love technology, right? But we just, as you said, we just keep going. Yeah, we just keep going. But until we chat again, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
To all of my business owners out there, especially the ones who decided to start it on their own, know that I have love for you. Know that you are doing wonderfully. And for any of you who are looking to get to a place where you can feel confident and competent for your business and for yourselves, I would love to have a conversation. Let's get you a Sales UpRising. That's what I would say.
I love it. Well, I'm Deb Creer. I've been having so much fun talking with Katie Nelson of Sales UpRising. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.